Have you ever loved someone who made you feel replaceable? Like no matter how much effort you gave, you were never their first choice. You weren't seen. You weren't valued. You were treated like an option. Today, renowned relationship therapist Dr. Laura Berman unpacks the emotional truth behind this experience, why she treated you that way, and what happens when you finally walk away. This isn't about blame. It's about healing and reclaiming your worth. Segment 1, the pain of being an option. There's a kind of pain that doesn't come with loud goodbyes or shattered promises. It comes in silence, in quiet realizations, like the moment you understand you were never really the one, not the first choice, not the name that lit up her screen with excitement, not the one she imagined a future with. You were there, always there, showing up, answering every call, responding to every message, being what you thought love was supposed to be: dependable, caring, consistent. But to her, you were just convenient, a backup plan when better plans fell through, someone she could lean on when the world was too harsh, but never someone she'd choose when it was calm. And that kind of pain cuts deep, because you gave her the parts of you that were meant to be treasured. And in return, you were an option, not a priority. You weren't loved. You were tolerated. You were used. And when that realization finally sets in, it doesn't explode like fireworks. It sinks like a stone. Heavy, quiet, devastating. Segment 2, the illusion of love. You thought it was love. It felt like love because you gave your whole heart. You were there when she needed someone. You listened when no one else did. You remembered the little things, her favorite song, the way she liked her coffee, the stories she told you at 2 a.m. You didn't just care. You showed up in every way that mattered. But love, a real love, is a two-way street. And while you were pouring yourself into the connection, she was measuring how much of herself to give. Just enough to keep you close, but never enough to truly stay. She gave you mixed signals dressed up as affection. Just enough attention to keep you hoping. Just enough warmth to keep you guessing. And when you got too close, she pulled away, not because she didn't know how to love, but because she never intended to love you that way. It wasn't love. It was convenience, comfort, control. And when you step back and look at it clearly, you realize that you were never confused about what you felt. You were confused about what she gave in return, because real love doesn't make you doubt yourself. It doesn't leave you constantly questioning your worth. It doesn't feel like walking on eggshells, hoping today will be the day she finally sees you the way you see her. The truth, you weren't hard to love. You were just loving the wrong person. Segment 3, you gave too much. You overlooked red flags. Those small warning signs that whispered something was wrong, but you chose to ignore them. You made excuses for her behavior, telling yourself, she just needs time, or she's going through a lot right now. You convinced yourself that love meant patience, that if you just gave a little more, things would get better. But deep down, beneath the hope and the excuses, you felt the imbalance. That quiet, uncomfortable feeling that you were giving more than you were receiving. You carried the weight of the relationship on your shoulders while she remained distant, unpredictable. You gave so much of your time, your heart, your energy, so much that you forgot to check in with yourself. You forgot to ask if you were being treated with the same respect and care. Slowly, that imbalance started to drain you, bit by bit, day by day, leaving you exhausted and empty. Segment 4. She took you for granted. She knew you'd answer every text no matter the hour. She knew you'd show up when she called, without hesitation. And because of that, she stopped trying. The little things, the messages that once made your heart race, the thoughtful gestures, the moments of genuine connection, they all disappeared. The excitement you felt at the beginning faded into a routine of waiting and hoping. The love you thought was growing was actually slipping away, quietly and without warning, right under your nose. She took your loyalty for granted. Your presence became something expected rather than cherished. Your kindness became an entitlement, not a gift. And while you were holding on, pouring your heart into a relationship that felt one-sided, she was slowly letting go without ever saying goodbye. Segment 5. The emotional roller coaster one day. She was warm, her smile lighting up your world, her words wrapping around you like a comforting embrace. You felt seen, valued, even loved in those fleeting moments. But the very next day, she became cold and distant, as if all that warmth had been an illusion. She shut you out, leaving you confused and questioning everything. You found yourself trapped in a relentless cycle, hopeful one minute, heartbroken the next, caught between holding on and wanting to let go. Each time she pulled away, your heart begged her to stay. Every time she came close, you lowered your guard, only to face the sting of disappointment again. The emotional ups and downs drained your energy, leaving you feeling like you were on a roller coaster you never signed up for, exhausted, vulnerable, and lost in a storm you couldn't escape. That constant push and pull wasn't love. It was a painful game that slowly chipped away at your sense of self. Segment 6. She felt in control when someone realizes they can lose you and still have you back. They stop valuing you the way they should. Familiarity, what should have, brought comfort, became a weapon. It made her careless, indifferent even, because she assumed your loyalty was guaranteed. She stopped trying, stopped fighting for your attention or affection because she believed you'd always be there waiting, forgiving, hoping. The balance of power shifted quietly but decisively. She held the reins, knowing you'd cling on no matter what. Love, in this case, wasn't about mutual respect or care. It became about control. A subtle, dangerous control where your heart was at stake, and she wielded it without concern for the damage. And while she felt secure in this power, you were left, feeling powerless, invisible, and broken. Segment 7. The turning point. Then something shifted inside you. After all the confusion, all the pain, all the nights spent wondering why you weren't enough, you finally started waking up. You began to see things clearly, the patterns, the mixed signals, the way you were always the one giving more while she took without thought. You stopped chasing what was never truly yours to hold. You stopped bending over backwards to earn a love that was given only when it suited her. You stopped answering every call, stopped waiting for her texts, stopped hoping for the affection that barely came. And that change, it scared her more than anything else ever could. Because for the first time, you became unpredictable. You became distant. You no longer fit into the role. She was comfortable with the person she could control, take for granted, and call back when convenient. Suddenly, the person she thought she had, the one who always showed up, was slipping away, becoming a stranger. And that absence, that withdrawal of your heart and presence, became the thing she feared most. Not because she loved you, but because she lost control. Segment 8. Your silence spoke volumes. You didn't argue. You didn't beg for answers or plead for her to stay. You simply went silent. You stopped trying to fix what she never really wanted to fix. You withdrew without drama, without shouting, without desperation. And in that silence, you spoke louder than any words could have. Your absence filled the space you once occupied with a presence she couldn't ignore. It was a quiet, powerful statement, one that shattered the comfort of her careless ways. That silence forced her to face the emptiness she created by taking you for granted, by treating your love like it was always guaranteed. Through your quiet strength, you reminded her and yourself of your worth. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is not in words, but in the choice to stop tolerating less than you deserve. Your silence was not defeat. It was liberation. It was the moment you chose yourself over someone who never truly chose you. Segment 9. Her realization begins. She started checking your stories, those little glimpses of your life you shared without her in it. Every new post, every photo, every caption became a reminder that you were moving on, living your life without waiting for her. She found herself liking your posts more than usual, almost subconsciously, as if trying to send a silent message or to feel closer to you from afar. She asked mutual friends about you, casually dropping your name in conversations, fishing for information about how you were doing, where you were, if you had moved on or still thought about her, because now she could finally feel the weight of the distance she created, the gap that didn't exist before, but now stretched wide and undeniable between you two. The space where love and trust once lived was now empty and cold. And in that emptiness, she began to realize the cost of her actions, the neglect, the indifference, the careless moments that pushed you away. For the first time, the control she once held so tightly was slipping through her fingers, and it frightened her more than she expected. Segment 10A, the ego collapse. At first, she told herself, "He'll come back." That phrase became her shield against the growing fear inside. She clung to the hope that you would return back to the person who waited patiently, who forgave every slight, who never stopped believing in her. She convinced herself that your absence was temporary, just a pause before you fell back into the same pattern. But days turned into weeks, and you didn't. Every day that passed without you, reaching out, chipped away at that fragile hope. Slowly, her confidence started to crumble. The ego that once thrived on certainty and control began to falter, leaving her vulnerable and uncertain. She realized she had lost something precious, something irreplaceable: your presence, your loyalty, your love. The wall she built around herself, built on the belief that you'd always be there, started to crack. And with those cracks came the painful truth. She might have pushed away the very person who truly cared. The fear of losing you wasn't just about control anymore. It was about losing the chance to be loved in return. And now, faced with that emptiness, she was left to confront the consequences of taking you for granted. Segment 11. She sees your growth from a distance. She watches you, and she can't help but notice how much you've changed. You're doing better now. There's a new calmness in your eyes, a quiet strength that wasn't there before, like you've finally begun to heal the wounds she left behind. The pain that once weighed you down is lifting, replaced by a sense of peace that radiates from within. You're no longer the person who waited, hoping for her affection or approval. You started to reclaim your life, piece by piece, day by day. You're thriving in ways she never imagined. Your smile is brighter, your steps lighter, and your spirit stronger. You're glowing not because of her presence, but because of your absence. You're growing beyond what she ever expected or deserved, moving forward with a life that's no longer tied to her. And while she watches this transformation unfold, she realizes she's become a ghost in your story, someone from your past, left behind as you step into a future filled with hope and self-love. Segment 12. Now she feels it. Regret doesn't whisper, it shouts, especially when silence replaces the constant attention she once took for granted. That absence, the quiet you left behind, fills the space you used to occupy and echoes louder than any words ever could. She feels it now, the sharp sting of loss cutting deeper than she expected. Losing someone who gave her everything without conditions, without hesitation, is a pain she can't escape. The love she dismissed, the loyalty she pushed away, comes crashing back in waves of overwhelming remorse. In the stillness of what once was, she finally faces the truth. What she had was rare and real, and now it's gone. And with that realization comes the crushing weight of knowing some chances don't come back. She's left to live with the echoes of a careless heart, the cost of not valuing someone who truly cared. Segment 13. The power shift. You're not seeking closure anymore, because you've come to understand that closure isn't something someone else hands to you like a gift or a favor. It's something you build for yourself from within. You've taken back your power, piece by piece, reclaiming your peace, your self-worth, and your dignity. You're no longer waiting by the phone, hoping she'll call, or wishing she'd see what she lost. You're not hoping she'll change or begging for a different outcome. Instead, you've changed yourself. You've grown beyond the pain, the confusion, and the endless cycle of chasing someone who never truly wanted to be caught. You've learned to love yourself fiercely, to set boundaries without guilt, and to walk away from anything that doesn't serve your growth and happiness. This new version of you stands tall, whole, confident, and unshaken by what was or what could have been. The power has shifted. It's no longer in her hands. It's in yours. And with it comes freedom, strength, and a future that's yours to create on your own terms. Segment 14. She can't rewind it now. She wants to talk. Now she wants to explain. Now she hopes to undo the distance with words, apologies, or promises. But the version of you who waited patiently, who made endless excuses, who gave chance after chance, that person no longer exists. That chapter has closed, sealed by the lessons you've learned and the boundaries you've set. You cannot rewind time to erase the hurt or reset the broken trust. You've moved forward, beyond the hurt and the hope, into a place where your worth is non-negotiable. She's left to face the reality that some chances don't come twice, that some people don't stay waiting forever, and that sometimes the person you thought you had is no longer the person standing before you. The story she once knew has changed, and it's too late to rewrite the ending. The power isn't hers anymore, it's yours. Segment 15. She lost more than you did. You lost confusion, exhausting. Endless loop of wondering if you were ever enough, if you deserved better, if things might somehow change. You lost anxiety, the restless nights filled with unanswered questions, the silent hopes that maybe this time she'd show up differently. You lost a one-sided relationship, a bond where you gave your whole heart and received only fragments in return. But she lost someone real, someone who showed up, who cared deeply, who stood by her even when things got messy. That's the true difference between you. The weight you shed was the burden of uncertainty, but the void she's left with is the loss of something genuine and irreplaceable. While you walk forward lighter, she is left carrying the consequences of taking love for granted, losing a person who loved without limits, without conditions. In that way, she lost far more than you ever did. Segment 16. You were always the prize. She didn't recognize your worth until the possibility of someone else stepping in made her see what she had taken for granted all along. But here's the truth that no one can take from you. Your value was never dependent on her validation, her attention, or her approval. Your worth was always inherent, shining quietly even in the shadows of her neglect. You were the prize, the one who gave wholeheartedly, loved deeply, and remained loyal without conditions. And now, freed from the blindness of her oversight, you step into your full power, confident, whole, and unshakable. You know exactly what you deserve, and you no longer settle for anything less. Your value isn't up for negotiation. It's a light that guides you forward, illuminating a path filled with respect, love, and true connection. Segment 17. No contact equals healing. Distance wasn't about revenge or punishment. It was about recovery, the essential space you gave yourself to breathe, to rebuild, and to heal from the wounds left by a love that wasn't mutual. That drained more than it gave. The more you stayed away, the more you returned to the person you were before the pain set in the person you might have forgotten amidst the chaos of trying to hold on to something, slipping through your fingers. Each day apart wasn't silence, filled with emptiness. It was a quiet sanctuary for growth, a pause that allowed your heart and mind to mend. No contact wasn't a punishment for her. It was a gift to yourself, a declaration that your healing mattered more than holding on to what was breaking you. It was in that space of distance that you found your strength again, rediscovered your peace, and began to rebuild your sense of self-worth that had been overshadowed by heartbreak and confusion. Healing isn't linear, but with every step away, you moved closer to freedom to be whole again. Segment 18. When you let go, letting go isn't weakness, it's a powerful act of wisdom and courage. It means choosing peace over chaos, calm over confusion, and self-love over desperate attachment. It means recognizing when holding on hurts you more than it helps, and having the strength to release what no longer serves your well-being or your growth. Letting go was your way of saying, I deserve better. I deserve happiness that doesn't come with conditions or doubts. It's a choice to honor yourself, to set boundaries, and to prioritize your own healing above all else. In that difficult but necessary decision, you found liberation, the freedom to love yourself fully, to rebuild your life on your own terms, and to open your heart to something new and genuine when the time is right. Letting go wasn't giving up. It was standing up for yourself, for your worth, and for the life you truly deserve. Segment 19. Her karma is regret. You didn't have to hurt her. You didn't need to seek revenge or make her pay for the pain she caused. All you had to do was heal, focus on your recovery, your growth, and your peace. And that alone, your calm strength, your moving on was the quiet karma she couldn't escape. It made her feel the same ache, the same emptiness, the same loneliness she once made you endure. Without words or drama, your healing became the reflection of the love she lost and the pain she caused. It was the truest form of justice, the kind that comes not from retaliation, but from rising above. Final message: she treated you like an option, a backup plan, a convenience, someone to call when it suited her. Now, she lives with the quiet, sharp pain of knowing she let go of something real, something rare and irreplaceable. She lives with the regret of never appreciating the best thing she had. But you are free. Free from the confusion, the one-sided effort, the heartbreak. Free to love yourself fully, to walk into the future with your head held high. And that freedom, that's your power. It's your victory. It's the proof that sometimes the greatest strength comes not from holding on, but from letting go and choosing yourself above all else. Dr. Laura Berman reminds us, when someone takes you for granted, it's not a reflection of your worth, but of their own inability to receive real love. She treated you like an option, but now she's the one sitting with the pain because you finally chose yourself. And that choice? That's the beginning of your power. If this resonated with you, be sure to subscribe for more emotional wisdom and relationship insight from Dr. Laura Berman. You were always the prize. Now live like it.